Have you ever just wished you could quiet the noise? I don't just mean the traffic outside, but you know that constant chatter inside your own head? Well, there's this ancient concept that holds the key, but it gets misunderstood a lot. It's called emptiness. And no, it's not about some dark, lonely void. It's actually a profound secret to mental clarity, just waiting to be unlocked. So, what if learning to strategically empty your mind of certain things could actually lead to the most profound kind of fullness you've ever known? That's the radical idea we're going to dig into today, and it comes straight from a conversation with the Buddha himself. All right, so our story kicks off with the Buddha's most devoted attendant, a monk named Ānanda. He's heard the Buddha talk about how he often dwells in emptiness. And, just like any of us would be, he's a little confused. So he decides to go right to the source and ask him about it. Ānanda's question is really our question, isn't it? He just wants to know if he's getting this right. Is the whole goal to just experience nothing? The Buddha tells him, "Yep, you heard me correctly." And then he gives this absolutely brilliant analogy to make this huge idea crystal clear. And this is where we get our big aha moment. To explain what true emptiness means, the Buddha doesn't get tangled up in complex philosophy. Nope. He uses the image of a palace. It's a simple metaphor that completely reframes the entire concept. So first, let's just get the terminology right. The Pali word is suññatā. Now, the absolute key thing to get here is that this does not mean absolute nothingness. It means being empty of something specific, something that was there before or that you're choosing not to focus on. The Buddha says, look at this palace. It's empty. But empty of what? Well, it's empty of all the usual chaos. No elephants, no cattle, no merchants with their gold, no crowds of people. All of those distractions are just gone. But then comes the punchline, the crucial point. The palace is not completely empty. There's still something there, the peaceful, unified presence of the community of monks. So you see, it is empty of distractions, but it is full of tranquility. This is the secret. Emptiness is always relative. It's a trade. You let go of one thing to gain another. So then the Buddha takes this amazing analogy and turns it into a practical, step-by-step guide. It's like a ladder of perception that any of us can climb to train our minds. It's a journey from the noisy and complicated to the simple and profound. So here's the path he lays out for us. We start with the world we know, the village, and then we gradually expand our focus, letting go of each layer to grasp something vaster, more subtle. We're moving from the concrete world right into the formless dimensions of the mind itself. Okay, step 1. You consciously stop paying attention to the perception of the village, the people, the drama, the noise. You empty your mind of all that. And what's left? The perception of the wilderness, the quiet, the solitude, the feeling of nature. All right, next step. You let go of the specifics of the wilderness. So you're not focusing on the individual trees or the streams or the animals. You empty your mind of those details, and what remains? The singular perception of earth. Just the vast, stable ground that's beneath everything. From there, you take a huge leap. You stop focusing on the physical object of the earth itself. You empty your mind of its boundaries and its forms, and what's left? The boundless perception of infinite space, just stretching out in all directions forever. Okay, so from here on out, the journey goes purely inward, into these incredibly subtle, abstract layers of consciousness, way beyond what our 5 senses can even perceive. Each step from here is an even deeper refinement of our attention. So the path gets much more subtle now. First, from perceiving infinite space, you turn your attention to the infinite consciousness that's aware of that space. Then you release even that to enter a dimension based on nothingness. And beyond even that, you reach a state so refined it can't even be described as having perception or not having it. After letting go that final, subtle base, what remains is a state the Buddha calls signless concentration of mind. This is just a state of pure awareness, totally free from all the mental labels or features we usually slap on things. It's an unbelievably peaceful state, but we're still not at the end of the path. This is it. This is where the whole journey finds its ultimate purpose. After reaching this absolute peak of concentration, the meditator has one final, crucial insight that leads not just to a temporary peace, but to an unshakable, permanent freedom. And here it is, the final turning point. The meditator realizes that even this incredibly sublime state of signless concentration, it's still a fabricated state. It was created through effort, it depends on conditions, and anything that's created and conditioned is impermanent. This powerful realization is the key that unlocks the final door. With this insight, the mind finally lets go completely. And now, what does it become empty of? Not just perceptions of villages or space, but of the very roots of suffering itself. These are called the three taints, or asavas, the deep-seated mental pollutants that cloud our minds. The taint of sensual desire, the taint of craving for existence, and the taint of ignorance. When the mind is empty of these taints, it is truly free. This isn't just a calm state that's going to fade. The Buddha describes this as the supreme, unshakable freedom of mind. This is the ultimate goal, the truest and highest form of emptiness. So the Buddha finishes his explanation to Ānanda by making it super clear that this isn't some secret technique just for him. He frames this step-by-step journey to ultimate emptiness as a universal path to wisdom, one that's valid for all people in all times. He states it so plainly. He says any enlightened being in the past followed this exact path. Any enlightened being in the present is following this path. And any enlightened being in the future will also follow the same path. It is the timeless method for achieving liberation. And his final words to Ānanda are a direct call to action, an invitation that really extends through time to all of us. He's saying, this is the pure and supreme way. This is the path you should practice. Look, we might not be letting go of the perception of the entire earth just yet, but that principle of the palace, that's something we can use right now. So the question is, what distraction, what worry, what mental noise could you choose to be empty of today, just to make a little more room for some peace?